Hi guys, this is Pinkie, the housewife. And before I go to bed, I decide to go ahead and give you all a recap on the Sean Diddy Combs trial today. Today, Monday, June 9th. And so today's testimony was bombshell all the way around. Okay? Jane was still on the stand again today. But before I get started, let me just have everybody to do this for me. Go ahead and hit that like button, okay? And subscribe to the channel if you can. All right, let me go ahead and say thank you. And I will be putting this up graphic warning content because it could be a trigger for some, okay? But let me go ahead and tell you guys. Now, we're on day number 19, the Sean Diddy trial. Jane continued from Friday. Okay, she was on the stand on Friday last week. Her testimony was shocking, but today, guys, let me tell you, I don't know where to begin. Okay, this woman been through hell and high waters. Okay, let me just say, Diddy wasn't her boyfriend. He was her pimp, allegedly, in my opinion. He had to be a pimp. He was pimping this woman out. Certified pimp. He just strung that Jane along, talked to the woman like she's crazy. Just found out he is still paying her rent, paying her attorney's fees. Something is wrong with that picture. Here, she's supposed to be testifying for the prosecution, but the Diddler is still paying her rent, still paying her attorney, and he's paying the attorney fees. Only reason think he's paying the attorney fees is so that he can know that everything that's going on. Because he's paying the attorney, that means he is privileged to what they're talking about, what she's going to testify, how to curb her testimony. Guys, this is some cockamamie ish that I ever heard. She needs to get away fast. But let me go ahead and let y'all watch this video. Okay? This is with ABC 7 Eyewitness News in New York. Oh my God. I only thing I can do is just pray for the woman. I just I wish she would get out of that situation. That's all I can say. That information with ABC 7 will be down in my description box below my video, guys. All right. So if you need to go back to it to watch it again, let me go ahead and get it started for you.
Good evening. I'm Mike Mars. As we take a look back at another day and another week of testimony that just began in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. A witness going by the name Jane back on the witness stand today, and now we are in the 5th week of this trial. We know today Jane told jurors that Combs pushed her into sex with other men, acts that she says has actually threatened her health. She also regretted the dark, toxic relationship she had with him, she told the jury. And during testimony, she also revealed that Combs was still paying her rent. A lot to unpack today. Darla Miles was inside court and has this recap. And in just a moment, we're going to hear from ABC News legal contributor Bernarda Villalona to dig a little bit deeper into everything that unfolded. But first up, Darla with the recap.
Week 5 of testimony getting underway Monday morning in the federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs, despite a motion filed over the weekend to get the case thrown out. Defense attorneys sending this 6-page letter renewing its motion for a mistrial based on prosecutorial misconduct regarding the testimony of Cassie Ventura that it knew or should have known was materially false. At issue, the testimony of Brianna Bongolan last week telling the court that Combs dangled her over the 17-story balcony at Ventura's Los Angeles apartment. Back in May, Ventura testifying that she actually witnessed the incident, saying, "There was an incident where I was asleep in my room, and when I came out, Sean was holding her and threw her onto the patio furniture." Prosecutors asking, "And what did you see Sean do to Bonna?" "What did I see? Yes, what did you see? Ventura saying, I saw him bring her back over the railing of the balcony, then throw her onto the patio furniture. But under cross-examination last week, text messages revealing that Ventura had been told about the incident and never saw anything. The court expected to take up the matter Tuesday after prosecutors have had a chance to file their response.
You're nuts. So be sad, go crazy, do whatever you want to do.
Today, jurors hearing more voice notes like this one introduced last week between Combs and an ex-girlfriend testifying under the name Jane after Ventura filed that explosive November 2023 lawsuit. Jane reading text messages she sent to Combs. One saying, I'm just so triggered by this. Please stop drugging and using women for your fetish nights. Leave women alone who don't want to do those nights with you. Hire prostitutes. In one call, Combs is overheard saying, Baby, I'm sorry you feel this way. You know I can't really talk on these phones. It's just some kinky expletive that I thought we both enjoyed. Jane telling the court, he was trying to warp my reality again, and I was just trying to stay strong. Every time I tried to speak my truth, Sean would just say it wasn't this, it wasn't that. And that I was just so overwhelmed with the evil of everything. It was just this time that was very, very evil and dark. Now, Jane's testimony again has concluded for today. She will go under cross-examination tomorrow morning. She did testify that after Cassie Ventura's lawsuit, that in June 2024, she exploded on Sean Combs. She attacked him. She slammed his head into a desk, a table, but it did not end their relationship. She says he still pays her rent, and he is currently paying for her attorney, but they have not had any real contact since his arrest.
Our thanks to Darla Miles, joined now by ABC News legal contributor Bernarda Villalona. I mean, that right there is wild to hear when you think about all the testimony that she's already given, talking about Jane, that Sean Combs is still paying her rent and paying her attorney fees.
Yes.
What do you make of that?
There were some tremendous bombshell moments today. I think today was a better day for the prosecution than Friday and then Thursday, because there were some surprises that we weren't ready for, that we didn't hear during opening statements. So the jury's hearing for the first time, wait, he's paying your rent, but aside from that, still paying your rent, but aside from that, paying your...
Guys, that's what I had a question about. Now, he's still paying her rent, but he's paying also the attorney fees. Paying both of those or paying any of that, especially the attorney fees. He knows everything that's going to be said. Isn't that tampering with a witness? Or isn't that wrong? That's something. I don't know. I'm not an attorney. Put something in the chat if you know what this is called. That's unheard of. That's like I told you, this man is the greatest pimp alive, I guess. It ain't hard out there for a pimp at all. Guys, this is some dirty stuff.
your attorney's fees, and not attorney's fees for her to file a civil lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs. Instead, the attorney's fees, because when they executed a search warrant at the homes of Sean Combs, HSI, Homeland Security, forgot what's the name of that, what the initials stand for, had gone to her house and left a card there. She immediately called Sean Combs and let them know that they had gone to her house. So she had an attorney that was...
Wait now. I did hear that earlier today, that they did go to her house. They left a card there for her. She returned their call, but before she did that, before all that happened, she called Sean. She called the Diddler. She called him and told him. Wow. Oh my God. Tell me. This is not going on. Yes, it is, guys. I told you every week. This is week 5. Y'all see where this is going?
Was provided to her by Sean Combs, got rid of that attorney. Sean Combs provided another attorney, and she still keeps that same attorney to this day while she's testifying. In fact, when she's on the stand, there's attorneys in the courtroom for her.
So if you're a juror, how do you place that in this whole twisted tale here?
So it looks bad for Sean Combs because why are you paying for an attorney?
Right.
And she's the victim, and you know that she's the victim, labeled victim in this case. It's more of for you to have control of what her testimony would be, and also for you to know what her testimony is, because I believe that it was just in April that she met with these attorneys. So by her meeting with these attorneys, and Sean Combs' team know what she's going to testify to, but keep a control over her. So it doesn't look good.
We heard from Sean Combs on this audio recording today. How did that play with the jury?
Many audio recordings. There were a few audio recordings that were played today in front of this jury. And two of the primary audio Jane didn't know she was being recorded. And in one of those audio recordings where Sean Combs is talking to Jane, Sean Combs is trying to tell her, oh, this is just our relationship. This was just some kinky stuff that we got into, right? And you could hear Sean Combs with the Sharpie taking notes. And what's more revealing is that where they found this recording. It was found on KK's cell phone that they executed a search warrant on. So again, the mix that the fix is in between Sean Combs, KK, and they were trying to cover their tracks because Cassie's lawsuit had filed, and now they were trying to see whether they can gain control of Jane doing this criminal prosecution that they saw was coming.
Remind our audience again, who's KK?
So KK is the assistant, the former chief of staff of Sean Combs. So her, like what Jane said today, KK was his right woman in the sense of she managed everything having to deal with Sean Combs.
And the lawsuit that you referred to was Cassie Ventura's civil lawsuit against Sean Combs.
Civil lawsuit, yes.
Which is kind of the first that we heard about all of these allegations, and this is coming on the heels of that video of the LA beating back in 2016 that was released, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so as you're sitting there in court today, how is the jury taking notes? What was the feeling inside?
Yes. So now for today, now the press got a chance where they switched our side. So now we're sitting on the left-hand side of the courtroom, which gives us a full view of all the jurors now, because where we were sitting before, we only got a view of a few of the jurors. So in terms of when that audio was played, when they found out about that Sean Combs was paying for Jane's attorney, like I'm writing in my notes because I'm looking at the jurors, because now they're taking notes. Because at times they had stopped taking notes and I was a big concern. I'm like, why aren't they taking any more notes? But now when the recording started playing, they were back to taking enormous notes really fast, paying attention, looking at these messages, and looking at Sean Combs to see what he's doing. Because aside from those two audio recordings that Jane didn't know about, also what was played was, remember, Sean Combs' apology video having to deal with the release of that assault that he did on Cassie in Los Angeles.
And so when jurors are in there taking notes and you're hearing Jane, I know last week it seemed like a very difficult process for her to relive some of these stories.
And today was the same thing. She is crying the majority of time during her testimony. So you have to think that when you're reading the testimony and you're hearing people talk about the testimony, is different from when you see her in the courtroom, because she's very soft-spoken. She is looking down at all times, even though the prosecutor is asking her questions, she's not making eye contact. And literally, I feel like she's crying like almost every 15 minutes or so as she's reliving this, because you can clearly see that she is still now trying to grasp what happened to her. That's why after the release of Cassie's lawsuit, when she filed it, was a reflection point at that time for her, that she said 3 pages mirrored exactly what I've been going through with you and what I've been trying to tell you, but you've been gaslighting me this entire time.
And so when you heard the audio from Sean Combs, and then I guess, did you hear Jane on the audio too? Or,
yes.
Okay, so then so what was the tone of those conversations?
So Mike, interestingly enough, so we had this conversation that is Jane, is it a performance in this courtroom where she's talking low and she's crying? Not at all, Mike.
Let me just say this, guys. Her voice is the same voice that you hear in the courtroom. Jane, that is her real voice. She talks very soft-spoken. She talks very low, and quietly. The cameras or anything, that's her voice. Um, yes, you just have to hear it.
Because those two audio recordings, she's speaking in the very same manner. In fact, she's crying on those audio recordings. So now you have, the jury has this comparison of, look, she didn't know she was being recorded, and look how she's talking to Sean Combs. Oh,
In real time.
Oh, Sean Combs is talking to her. Let's just put it like that, because you could tell that he is the main aggressor, the one with the power, the one who's telling her how things should go. And she's talking very low, and she's crying through the conversation. And at one point during one of those audio recordings, when he's trying to tell her, oh no, this is just some kinky thing that we do, this is our relationship,
The freak offs, the hotel nights.
yeah, the hotel nights. She's like, no, that's not how I see it, how I interpret it. And Sean Combs is reminding her, like, look, we can't be talking on the phone. This is before there's even a criminal prosecution. So I think what the jury's going to hear from the prosecution during closing arguments is that, look, Sean Combs was trying to clean up shop at this point. Now he's trying that's happened between the two of them.
How important, from an attorney's point of view, how important is it for, in a case where it seems like the defendant is not going to testify, how important is it to hear from the defendant in their own words and in sort of in a snapshot of this case, to hear that audio?
So, Mike, this is what put Sean Combs in a bad position. He's in a bad predicament now, because in normal cases, you won't hear anything from the defendant. You won't hear their text messages. You won't hear their audio recordings. You won't hear these voice notes. And here, the jury has heard all of those from the perspective of what the prosecution is putting before this jury. So now it's like the jury's not going to have an explanation from the defendant, and they'll be expecting an explanation. So now you're left in a predicament like, do I have to put Sean Combs on the stand to testify, to try to give an explanation or try to give context or try to fix what this jury has heard from the perspective of the prosecution? Because even if there's additional recordings, the defense, because of the rules of evidence, cannot put that forth in their own case. Of course, because it's a statement against penal interest, it's an admission by the defendant, but the defense can't do that. So if they want to portray something that is said by the defendant, by Mr. Combs, they will have to put him up on the stand or get someone else to try to provide context if they can.
Finally, for this conversation tonight, what does the defense need to do, or how will they try to go at Jane to benefit their client, Sean Combs?
So the defense has already said that their cross-examination is going to last a few days. So expect the cross-examination to be on Tuesday, on Wednesday, and possibly also even the entire day on Thursday. So this is not going to be a quick cross-examination. The examination is going to have to be very meticulous in the sense of you're dealing with someone that's on the stand that is very fragile and that's going to be not confrontational, but probably crying and in her mind just say that she wanted this love and how Sean Combs took advantage of her. So the defense is going to try to say, like, look, you wanted more of this relationship. You were the one who engaged in this. This was consensual. At no point did you say no. Or entertainers for these sex nights, but also try to make her as a money grab, that this is a money grab. You just wanted Sean Combs to pay your bills, to pay your rent, your $10,000. That's the only thing that you were fearing. You say that you can't walk away because, hey, I won't get my rent paid. Go somewhere else. Go get an apartment you can't afford.
We'll see how it all plays out. Bernarda, always great to have your perspective.
Okay, guys, thank you for watching that. That is stalling to know that he is still paying her rent. He is paying their attorney fees. And the next thing is that is her voice. That is how she sounds, for real, for real. So it's not an act or anything. And you can see who's the one in control. The diddler is controlling everything. All right, guys. See you all tomorrow morning when I do the next live. You all have a good evening. Bye bye.